Good morning, it is Saturday and we have got a booking at the dump this morning, which is pretty exciting. Firstly, because over lockdown it's been almost impossible to get a booking at the dump because they kind of regulated it and made it very difficult to get there. But also, they've had a fire there recently and so it's been closed for about a month. So this is pretty exciting, and what it does mean is that we can start to do some work on the chicken house because we've been holding off. There's no point kind of tearing stuff down and then just having to store it in bags. So that is the job for this morning. Yesterday was just torrential rain all day, like just sheet water coming down, and I'm surprised by how little damage we've got up here. The raspberries have been a bit mullered, they've been kind of all bent over and squashed, but they will stand up again. Quite a lot of the apricots were blown off the tree because we had strong winds, which is a real shame, but at least we still get to eat them. Just got to chop all the rotten bits off and the damaged bits. And the other thing that's come a cropper is the cornflowers. They've been completely flattened. So I'm pretty sad about that. I'm hoping they're going to come back. I might chop them back and see if they recover. But I'm also glad that we took a huge bunch of them home to go in a vase, like just before the rainstorm hit. So yeah. But first job for the day is definitely attacking this roof. We've got a huge old, like really super heavy whiteboard from the school on top of it. Can you see that, like the flat bit? And that's the first thing that needs to come off. We're going to strip the roof off today and then kind of reassess what we've got to do inside because it needs quite a lot of work. Seriously, I can conceive of no reason at all why any whiteboard should be this heavy. It weighs an absolute ton. And now, obviously, I mean, it weighed a ton when we got it up there, and now it's saturated, so it's even heavier. Woo! So the tarp that I've been cutting off the top has been the roof for the girls, giving them a bit more protection from the sun and the rain over the last couple of years. And we've had it folded up and folded down like this because obviously if you cut tarp it frays like this bit up here has, where it's been damaged by the sun. But we've got these really large bits of just old wood that we had lying around kind of weighing it down on this end. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this tarp right off. This is the first time that we haven't actually had any girls. So every time we are trying to kind of renovate, we've had to kind of rehouse the chickens in the shed or in something like that while we've been trying to do things. So this is the first time we're really going to be able to kind of assess what we've got going on here and essentially fix it all up and start again, which is quite exciting. So I'm going to take this roof off and we will see what's underneath. I think quite a lot of the main structure is totally sound, but I will be kind of bolstering it. There's quite a lot of work to do on both the door and the floor of the chicken house. The floor mainly just for aesthetic reasons, the door because it's been damaged. And other than that, it really is just a case of removing the redundant hen box, which has been just stuck on the side we've been using as a cupboard all this time, and considering any other kind of improvements we want to make for the new girls. Okay, so this is the box that's got to come out. This is the old chicken box, like I was saying, and when we first had this chicken house, we had big size, like proper chickens, and my dad made this whole cage with this box that was kind of suspended. It was a super fancy sort of glam residence for the girls. It had a piece that came out the back, so it kind of came off here, and that was their perch. He even gave them a window. But the back end of this had like a whole series of four nesting boxes that came out that way, and then there was legs on the outside, and so we could like lift up and collect the eggs without going inside the cage. But then when we started transitioning towards bantams rather than full-size chickens, the bantams didn't really like going up the quite large ramp that took them up into this box, and we had another chicken house which was just a temporary one that we had previously used as like an isolation chamber if any of the other chickens weren't very well. Over time we just sort of started using that one as their main house instead of this one, and because we weren't using it so much, the weather kind of really got to it, and we ended up taking the back off, and like I say, it kind of became completely isolated from the chicken house. It's just like we had a embedded cupboard in the side, which to be honest has been really, really useful for storing stuff because it's been totally dry, and we had it completely sealed off so it wasn't accessible from the inside. It wasn't any danger to the girls having it there. We could leave it there. To be honest, it has been pretty useful, but I think it's starting to really kind of rot off at the corner where we've sawn it off because it's plyboard and the weather's getting in. So I think if we're ever going to take it out, now is the time. So that, chaps, is what we're doing. Okay, we have run out of time. We're just going to take what we've got so we don't miss the dump booking, because that would be really annoying. Success. Right, well that's the first lot. Unfortunately we only got half of the chicken house dismantled before we were supposed to be here, so we're going to go back to the allotment and finish that off and then kind of bag it up. And when's the next booking?
14th of August is the first one we could get after that.
The next one we could book was 14th of August, so we've got a bit of time to wait, but you know, we got half of it out, so let's head back to the allotment. We are returned. So I was saying earlier about the fact we've had all that wind and rain and not too much damage. The cornflowers are a goner. Look at the poor things, flattened in their glory. Just completely flat. Oh dear, what a mess. Still gorgeous though. I mean, I will stand them up. Maybe they'll do something else. Maybe. Bit of a shame though. I mean, I'll chop them back and see what happens, but they look in a right state. But the other thing that's really annoying is that, you know, a couple of weeks ago I planted like all the mystery, God, it's very bright, all the mystery brassicas into that bed, all the things that I'd lost the labels for. Well, the cover blew off them during the first lot of wind, and they've just been pecked to pieces by the pigeons, which is pretty annoying. Yeah, so it was this cover blew off, and they were looking so lush, but never mind, hopefully they'll recover. Well, they will recover, but still. Let's get back to box attack. I would really like to get this down today, because as it is, it's just hanging there and there's no support on that leg, like it's just hanging free. So I'd really like to get this out and down and have a prop in there before we went home tonight. Right, let's get back to it. Back in the shed, hiding from the rain. They really do. Box is out. Fab. Just got to find something to put in this gap. And I've got this piece, which was the third leg for the old box. So I'm just going to cut this to size and jam it in that corner, and we should be good to go. Now you're going to have to tell me if it's straight. Okay, let go. Well, not a bad job for the day. It's just about to rain again. The black clouds are rolling over, so we're going to head home. I've got to make some early dinner because Johanna's coming over, which is pretty exciting. I haven't seen her for ages. And we're going to go to the pub, obviously. So I need to have made the dinner before we go to the pub. So I better go home and do that now. Oh, yeah. Here comes the rain. Morning. It is Sunday morning. Johanna's been up here having a bit of a nose around, but she had to go back because she's got her own stuff to do in the garden. So yeah, she's disappeared. I've just fed the tomatoes because I forgot to do it on Friday. So I've done the tomatoes and the courgettes with seaweed feed. And the next thing on the list is the poor apricot tree is just being battered. We've lost quite a few of the very few apricots that we had anyway. They've fallen off, so Mum and I are going to take the netting off the tree and just pick what's remaining. and hope there's enough there to make an apricot tartatin later on today, because yum. And do a bit of picking. We got to pick some French beans, which is nice, and it's raining again. Of course, it's just not great weather. Like, this is the first day of August. It's August, by the way. What happened there? It is August, but everything is looking really lush. Hang on, I'm just going to rest you on that. I forgot my gimbal, so I'm just holding you, and my arm is aching. Hold on, let me just rest you on that. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, beans. We've got to pick a lot of beans. The peas are coming to an end. They actually have come to an end now, so we're just going to pick off what we can, clear that bed, and I'm going to reserve that one to get the chicory in. I was going to put the chicory in the end bed, but we've just been discussing where we're going to put the brassicas next year, because we've got to get the field beans in for the brassicas, because where we put, oh God, I'm rambling, where we put the field beans in last year in front of the brassicas to get them going has made an enormous difference, and they look fantastic. So we're going to do that again this year, and we just decided which beds, because I didn't want to put anything that's going to need to be overwintered or going to stay in the bed for a while in any of the beds. Then we need to get the field beans in over winter, if you see what I mean. And I was going to put the chicory in this front bed. We've decided it's going to be brassicas. So I'm going to clear the peas and make space for the chicory. You're ready to tack the apricot, Mum? So the first thing we're going to do is take the netting off that we put over the apricot tree to protect the apricots from the birds and the squirrels. It is the soft bird netting from Gardening Naturally, and I will put a link down underneath because I think it's a fantastic netting. It's really good stuff, and look at that. It has successfully protected the apricots. One of the things I really like about this netting is that it is incredibly strong and it doesn't tangle easily. So as we're going to pull this off, we'll just be able to kind of wind it back into a shape that means that we can tie it up and package it all back up again, ready for use next time, and it'd be completely like new, which is a massive advantage, because normally with netting, you use it once, it gets into such a tangle that it's just kind of, it's done and dusted, and often you can only use them once. This netting, in my opinion, is just fantastic for reusability. And it's also flexible enough that you can hook it right over the top of trees. It's not going to rip, and it's also not going to damage the tree. Because some of the cheap plastic ones that you'll see that we've got over the peas, when the plant or the tree, depending on how long you've got it over your tree or your peas or whatever, as they start to grow through it, as you try and pull it off, it just shreds the new growth of the plant, and that is not handy. But this stuff really doesn't do that. And it can't do much about the wind, which is done for most of our fruit. But look, the stuff that has managed to stay on the tree is still there, which I can assure you it wouldn't have been if the birds and squirrels could have got in. These are looking really lovely. Beautiful apricots. Got that? Ah,
Beautiful little earwigs in them. Or something.
oh, but
Oh, loads of them. Grubbed, but it doesn't matter.
No.
We'll eat them anyway. And that one's gotten perfect, that one is it? One
pretty
little
much.
hole. Well, we did quite well. Just... Well, I need to get something to put them in.
Yeah, I think so. I can't believe we got that many off them actually, because we really thought we weren't going to get any. So last year we didn't get a single one. Year before that we couldn't eat them fast enough. We had like 30, 40 perfect apricots. Last year we would have probably had a really, really good crop because of the amount of sunshine we had. But it just when it flowers, because the apricots flower so early, like the nectarines and the peaches and stuff, they flower so early. It was right when we had 2 storms. I think it was Storm Dennis and Storm somebody else. It just blew all the blossom off before pollination, so that was pretty depressing. But we've got a pretty good crop this year. I'm amazed. I mean, we're not going to be going to the market with them or anything, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, let's sort the peas out, because as you can see, they need a bit of help. Okie dokie. Here is your prime example of crappy netting. This is the cheap green stuff. We don't normally use this. It was a case of they were being squashed by the birds, and we had some of this kind of unused wrapped up in the bottom of the netting shed, and it was the best thing we could find at the time. Admittedly, it's very light, and if you're using it for the first time, it's really easy, but it just is a nightmare to try and use again. We will be able to use most of this. You can see if you've got 2 people and one person can kind of string it along, you can save most of it, but it shreds so easily and you just end up with masses of holes, and then it's not much good anyway. But if you can get it off in one piece, if you twist it with somebody else and form it into a rope, you can store it pretty easily like that, and gives it its best chance anyway. You can see how mouldy these are. Like, I know I delayed picking these because I was quite optimistic, but I think we'll still get something out of that. It's yet to be seen whether they're absolutely full of pea moth, though. They could be all maggoty. So we've got some peas to save. I'm not going to save anything off this Monge 2. Monge 2 is really not very nice when it's gone over anyway, and these are well and truly over. So I'm just going to clear that one out. We ate so much Monge 2 this year, like we got a bit sick of it actually, which is why we've ended up with not picking it. But this tall telephone has still got quite a lot of good pods on there, so we'll get quite a lot off that, I think. This is what I mean about pulling the tips off your plant. The soft netting that I was talking about from Gardening Naturally really doesn't do that, but this, it gets all of the new fresh growth all tangled up in it, and when you try and take it off, basically just shreds the top of the plant. Which in this case, admittedly, isn't that much of a problem because we're going to be ripping the plants out anyway. But if I wasn't, I'd be pretty annoyed. Have them for the keema. Very good idea.
See how big it is.
It's a beauty gone.
Delicious.
Is it hot?
It's coming through now. Top. Ooh. Oh. Oh, it's too hot. I was hungry then. Right. Look at that empty bed now.
It's lovely. Sweating.
It's hot. It was hot. It's good.
Right,
So
so we've
salt on it.
spring onions, some blown lettuce, some
I
gorge.
don't know how this one's doing down there. What's that?
I love how every single one of these open happy single flowers has got a bee on it. Every one of them. And all different types of bees. We've got the bumble, we've got a honeybee. It's just, look at this one, he's got so much pollen on his haunches. No, gonna go back for more? Not finished. We're back in the shed. The weather's taken a turn, so we're just going to do a bit of picking before we head off. We might look out for some snips at B&Q as well, that don't kind of butcher the poor plant that's trying to grow the things.
There's I can one right through the bottom, down the bottom there. And one a bit lower. That's it.
Look at this blooming beast. We've also got a massive Pattypan under here, which it's funny how they can get bigger and bigger and it's like completely disguised. This one is really tight into the bottom of the plant and we just didn't see it. Normally we would pick them about a quarter of the size of that, but yum scrum.
What are you doing for lunch today?
I think we're having this stuff, don't we? Oh, I just knocked one off. And then chard. This chard is growing so quickly. It is loving the rain. I know normally we don't water it enough. I do know that. So this is a bit of a lesson for us that, yep, sunshine's important, but really what the chard wants is water. Because we're having a huge picking of this like every couple of days at the moment.
Okay. Yes. Right.
Okay, the next thing we're going to get is some potatoes, and it is it's unlikely to be a treasure trove. The potatoes have not been very good this year for a number of reasons. So we decided to grow them in sacks, like you know. First time we've grown all the potatoes in bags, and because it's been so wet, and the bags do have drainage holes obviously, but they just got really soggy. They got a lot of slugs in there, and oh my god, the sun's coming out. Yeah, so we've got sunshine now. But no, we're going to unearth some potatoes, tip them out the bags and see what we got. But we want them for dinner, so we're just going to take what we can. The other issue we've got is that we've got a mixture of first early, second earlies and main crop. And as we've been moving the bags around, we no longer know what's in any of the bags. So it's just a bit of a potluck, pick and mix. Some of them probably should have been turfed out much earlier. Some of them should be staying in there for much longer, but we just don't know what they are, so we just have to go with it. But let's see what we get. A gorgeous bit of sunshine. Mum's coming down with a wheelbarrow for us to turf the potatoes out into. I tell you what, because it's so wet, the moment the sun comes out, the humidity just leaps. It's so sweaty. So these are the raspberry canes which I've pulled out of that were holding up the greenhurst shaft dwarf peas, and we're just going to stick them into the netting shed. And as long as we keep them dry over, you know, well, I would say over winter, but you've got to keep them dry over summer this year. Just stick them in here, let them dry out, and they will be good to use next time. You've got to be a little bit cautious using raspberry canes as canes in the ground. You don't want to cut them straight away and put them in the ground, because they can root and then you just find raspberries popping up all through your bed, which isn't really what you want. But as long as they're like a year old or 6 months old or whatever, perfect.
My beautiful
There we go.
creation.
These gorgeous sunflowers. Oh, a bee. Sorry, chap.
Which one do you think?
Let's have a look.
How many slugs are in the water bottle, do you think? Oh, look at them all. Going for a swim, girls.
Oh, I think it's red duke.
I think it might be.
Ooh, beauty. That's Apache.
Is it? This one doesn't look very Apache-like, though.
Well, we obviously put a mixture in here, this one. Oh, quite good. Ooh.
She'll cry with a few little ones, but yeah, mixture. It looks like the Apache was the better of the two.
Yeah. Well, I am pretty pleased with that. They are going to be so good roasted. Okay, we are home and I'm dry. I've got a gin and tonic. Things are looking up. Well, I'm pretty pleased that we got to make a start on the chicken house this week. Got loads of bits and pieces to get on with over the coming few weeks, and next week what I'm going to try and do is dig out some old pictures of what it looked like, what that box section looked like, obviously before we cut the back off it a couple of years ago, because it was pretty good. And just so you can kind of see how it used to look, I'll dig out some old photos of that. But like I say, it's been redundant the last couple of years other than for storage, so it's really nice to have that moved out. We've got some plans about making it a bit more open for the new girls, whoever it is that we get. And the little house that they have got in there needs quite a bit of work doing on it too. So yeah, there's quite a lot to be done over the next couple of weeks. But it's going to be kind of like slowly unfolding as we go, ducking and diving from the rain. Although, having said that, the weather forecast does look like we've got a bit of sun heading this way, which is very welcome, very welcome. Oh, that's really nice. It's just a gin and tonic, but it's got Feverfew Clementine tonic in it. I'm not normally into flavoured tonics or anything, I just like it tonic water. But that's really nice. Anyway, talking of rain, anybody who is in the UK, I hope not too much of your stuff was damaged during the absolute downpours we've had over the last week. It's been pretty serious. Yeah, so I just hope, so we lost our cornflowers like you saw, but I hope that nobody else had anything too damaging. I know somebody a couple plots up from me, all of their sweet peas were flattened, which is pretty sad because they're right at their peak at the moment. Or theirs were. Mine are not at their peak. Mine have about 3 flowers on them. But yeah, sorry, I'm trying to keep this really short because this video is long. I'm not sure what's happening on Thursday yet. I've got to make like I said, the tarte tatin with the apricots, which is a really handy recipe for any sort of large fruit that you're growing. So I might do a recipe on that. Next time I get a big fat courgette that's ready for stuffing, I will do a stuffed courgette recipe because I've got about 20 of them and they're all really good. So I'll put some of those on for any of the courgettes that have kind of run away because we're in that patch now, aren't we? But basically I'm not sure what's happening for Thursday's vlog. I guess we'll just see what happens. Planning is not my strong point. So yeah, I hope you have a fantastic week. It's the first week in August, which is both astounding and quite encouraging. I'm really hoping as the weather picks up, like the tomatoes, I've seen loads of people with loads of tomatoes. I don't have loads of tomatoes, I've got some, but not masses, but I'm still optimistic. The melons are really far behind and the cucumbers are far behind. It's all far behind, but there's still time. There is still time, I'm telling you, there is. Slightly alarming that I'm having to like shift my plans around for when the autumn stuff is going in, when I don't feel like we've actually had much in the way of summer stuff yet, but that is the way of things. On that note, chaps, I am going to finish my gin and tonic, go and cook some dinner, and I will see you this time next week for another vlog. And I'll also see you on Thursday for a surprise video. I have no idea what it's going to be, so it'll be a surprise for you and me both. Happy August, cheers, and see you next week. Cheers.